Hello guys and welcome. I'm Anastasia. It's No More Lifting webinar. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I already see that so many people signed up and more people are joining like every second. Hello California, Italy, Florida, Paris, Greece, wow, Hungary, California again, Chile, Toronto, Canada. Welcome guys. Let me know if you can hear me and see me clearly because I can see all your comments and thank you so much for them. Today we're going to learn a lot. Originally I planned a few topics and then as I was getting ready for this webinar there were like more and more and more, I just couldn't stop. So approximately it will take probably 1 hour and a half or 2 hours. So you have this time blocked. So I have a presentation for you. I'm so excited, guys. Honestly, you can probably tell I'm a little nervous. So we have a special hashtag for today. It's hashtag No More Lifting. If you will be sharing any stories, posts, inspiration, anything, do not forget to use it and to tag me or Nails Pro Academy so we can find you and get inspired and give you some likes. Awesome. Let me know where you're from if you haven't yet, but I already see that we have people from all over the world, from South Africa, California, Poland, New Jersey, Turkey, Lithuania, awesome, Germany. We have Detroit here, Norway, Netherlands. Hi, hello. I'm Anastasia Milton because I've seen some of your comments that some of you are here for the first time, so let's get to know each other. I'm Anastasia. I'm in this industry for 16 years already. Actually, it's going to be 17, I believe, this year. 13 as an educator. I'm an award-winning nail technician. I also did a cover for Nails magazine, and I taught over 200,000 students. And that's possible only due to online education and Nails Pro Academy. Because when you're teaching live, it's not really possible to get even like 200 people in the same room. That's crazy. And now we have almost 300 online. That's impressive, right? And that's definitely possible only due to this technologies nowadays that we have. And also one of my recent awards that I shared on my YouTube and on my Instagram is that show, they called it Show Nail Co, my YouTube channel that I'm doing for 3 years, I believe. So I won this award that says that I'm in the top 10 of nail art video creators. That's super awesome. So also this is something I wanted to share with you guys and to say thank you because obviously they choose these winners due to interest of the public. And this is the picture of me a while ago, I think. I just wanted also to share and show you that it wasn't like that all the time because I noticed that some people send me, messages on Instagram, something like, Anastasia, I'm just getting started. I'm like not as good as you. I really have some like problems with lifting, with shaping. The thing is, when I started, well, first of all, I was doing nails for like 6 to like 9 to 10 hours, like really long. My first beauty school that I attended, later I realized that they didn't really teach me very well. There were like 5 days of acrylic class. I had no idea what's apex, how to do cuticle work. They just, showed me how to do nails on tips, how to do nails on forms. This is pink and white. That's it. So obviously I had so many troubles. Nails of my clients, they were lifting, they were breaking, so there were so many problems. And the general reason I went to the nail industry, I really thought that, no, this is just something for me while I'm studying in the university, something I'm just going to do for a while to make some cash, and then I'm going, to find a real job. But as you can see, almost 17 years passed and I'm still here because I never knew that this industry is so great. It's not only about filing nails, it's also about creativity, art. You can start your own salon, you can become a blogger, you can do editorials, you can take part in the competitions. There's just so much more. So if you guys are as excited as I am about the nail industry, you're so welcome and let's get started. quick webinar rules for those who haven't been with me online yet, and they're very simple. If you want to get the most of this webinar, I recommend you to turn off distractions. I already did. I turned off my phone, all the sounds, anything that can distract us. I encourage you to be active, just ask questions, interact with each other. We will have a special Q&A section. And please no spam or advertising in the chat. What are we going to learn today? Well, of course, why do nail products lift? Also, we will learn how to prep nails for nail extensions, not just learn, but I will also show you how to do that. We're going to talk a lot about nail prep products. I received so many questions before this webinar about acid and non-acid primer, like what's the difference when you need to pick one or another. We're going to cover that. How to avoid product lifting and hands-on demo. So I already have my nail off, so I can do this demo for you guys. And I will be also using my favorite model, silicone hand from Red Iguana. She's going also to help us with one important demo. Awesome. Okay, so we are going to talk a little bit about the general terms. Just to be sure we're on the same page, because I know that some of you guys are here very experienced already. Some of you are beginners, some of you are just nail enthusiasts. So I think it will be useful for all of us. What is adhesion? This is the action or process of adhering to a surface or object. So basically just, two objects adhering to another. That's simple, right? When adhesion is lost, for some reason, we have product lifting. This is something that we definitely do not want to get. So that's what we will be talking about today. Now, how to achieve a good adhesion? If you will read instructions for any glue, I'm not talking about the nail glue yet, like regular glue, like you want to stick something to something. Usually the instruction will say that the surface must be clean and dry. Because if it's not clean, if it's oily, or there's another problem, the adhesion just will not be good. And the same thing is with the nails. The nail must be clean and dry. So let me show you. So this is the close-up of, this is my nail, by the way. And we can see that, the surface is obviously clean and dry, but if we will take a closer look into these corners, sometimes we may see a little, skin, cuticle, dust, oils hiding right there. Like you can, well, if they're that tiny, that won't be a problem. But if you see, a lot, this is what is going to cause lifting. And we're going to talk about lifting in all areas of the nail today. So lifting may happen due to many reasons. There's a lot. And we can divide them into two groups, internal and external. And internal, I really want to warn you, internal is really not very common. So I would say it's very rare, but it's still possible. And usually it has to do something with high levels of ketone bodies. In easier words, it's acetone. We do have acetone in our bodies at a certain level, which is considered to be healthy. But once, for some reason, this level rises, then it may be a problem and the product may simply leave for this reason. So usually it happens due to type 1 or type 2 diabetes or conditions such as prolonged starvation. So like I said, it's really not very common. And in 99% of the cases, lifting happens for external. So usually it's maybe excessive pressure on the nail plate. Let's say someone hit a nail or pressed the nail, or maybe your client is a professional rock climber. Like there's always some pressure on her nails. It may be chemicals and exposure. Let's say she's cleaning her bath without protective gloves with some chemicals or, other kind of chemicals. It may be incorrect product removal. This one is super common when clients take off nails by picking them, by biting them off, by chewing them off, and then obviously the nails are also damaged. It may be some daily activities. Let's say if your client works as a cashier in a grocery shop, so all she does all day is just putting products back and forth. It also has something to do with the pressure on the nail plate, and over time may result in lifting. But the most popular reason is definitely the last one. It's incorrect use of implements, files, products, and electric nail file. We're going to talk about that one also today. And we're also going to dive a little bit deeper into natural nail anatomy. We're not going to talk about the entire anatomy because that will take a few hours, obviously. So I will just briefly refresh it for you if you already know it, and if you do not, then it will be something new for you. So if we will take a look on our nail from the side view like that, we can divide all the layers. So nail contains of multiple layers, 80 to 100, and they can be divided into three groups. The one on the top, the dorsal one, is the most important one. This is the one where we're going to adhere our products. It's the hardest one. It's like really hard. We can actually feel that it is. And once we prep the nails, let's say we take off the surface shine, or we apply dehydrator or primer, all these products, they work together with this layer. While the next one is intermediate, this one is the layer that's in between. This layer is softer, and this layer is really bad in terms of adhesion. So if for some reason the dorsal layer is off, let's say the nails are damaged, like client took the file and roughly overfiled them, or with the electric file, or was just picking them. So now we have only intermediate layer on top, and nothing's going to really adhere to it. It doesn't matter which primer you use, how good you are in your application. It just will not work this way. Make sense? And then we have a ventral, which is super soft. It's close. As you can see, it adheres to the nail bed. So if the things are that bad and the ventral layers on top, well, first of all, it's going to be super sensitive. Like it's going to basically hurt to even touch that. And obviously, like zero adhesion is simply possible. Let me guys know if you understood my explanation so we can move forward. All products, we can divide them into two groups, soft or flexible. I would say soft, this is definitely soft gels, like sock-off gels, gel polishes, nail polishes, definitely. And then we have hard, which are non-flexible. So these are acrylic, hard gel, polygel, and dip. Okay, so soft and hard, it has nothing to do with sock-off, like resistant to solvents or not. All right, and we're back. So cuticle area. It's very common when I receive a message in my DMs like, hey, Anastasia, so I'm doing nails and the product is lifting. I'm using gel, I'm using primer, I'm doing everything good, but it's still lifting. And the first question I would like to ask this person is where the product is lifting, because it really matters, and the reasons are pretty different. So one of the most common is cuticle area. Let me guys know if you had this problem, maybe if you've seen it with your clients coming from other salons. So this is when the product is lifting right here from the top. And I think you would really like to take a screenshot of this next slide, because these are the reasons if product may lift from the cuticle area. Usually its cuticle is spreading on the nail plate and it's still left right there near the skin, and it's not cleaned properly, and then you apply the product on the top, and then it's going to lift, because remember, the product will adhere to clean and dry surface, and cuticle even though it's a dead tissue, it's not clean, it's not dry. Okay, so the product is simply going to lift in this case. Overfiled cuticle area. Remember this previous slide when we were talking about the layers, like ventral layers and so on? So if the cuticle area is damaged, then any area is actually, when it's overfiled, the adhesion will not be as good. If the cuticle area is flooded, whether it's base coat, the product, the color, or the top coat. If the nails are feel overdue, like this, I'm sorry, like this one, my nail. I actually just have one that has a feel overdue. Let's say you are having, or your client is having nails on for longer than 4 weeks. That's definitely an overdue. Hyperhidrosis, over excessive sweaty skin or nails, or both. Some people like to buff their nails to high shine, you know, not with the buffer, but with the shiner, like the buffer, which is like 600 to 3000 grit, which actually buffs it to a beautiful high shine. But this shininess is the opposite of adhesion. To have a good adhesion, we need to have a matte surface. Cuts near the cuticle. I recently had a client that had so many cuts around her cuticles, and they were due to the work that she's doing. She works as a chef. So once this liquid, well, the blood, is, you know, too close to the nail plate, and once it's on the nail plate, it will be also bad for adhesion, as well as hemostatic agents. Those are the special liquids or powders that you want to use if you want to stop bleeding. Like recently, it happened to me like a week ago. I was working with the same client that has cuts all over her cuticle. So once I started to push it back, you know, gently with the orange wood stick, and it just started bleeding. So I used this hemostatic agent. It worked well. It just stopped. And then I applied, you know, I did everything like I usually do. I applied acrylic, and it lifted in the same corner where the cut was, like immediately. Also, the product is not fully cured if you're working with light cured products. Thick application near the cuticle if you simply apply too much, you know, because near the cuticle we're supposed to apply the product super thin, whether it's acrylic gel, soft gel, anything. And also if the product is touching the cuticle, basically it's applied too close to the cuticle. What about using a cuticle removal product during prep? Yes, thank you so much. I would definitely add this one to this list as well, because most cuticle removers, they have some oils in their ingredients, and this is also the opposite of adhesion. So if you do them, I mean, it's not restricted, you can use them, but after that you need to clean them really well using sanitizer, using alcohol or a regular cleanse for the nails, or you can use Dehydrator. And do not forget to clean under the cuticle and along the sidewalls as well. Okay, let's go to the next one. So this is also one of the most common, you see, the flooded cuticle, because sometimes when I say flooded cuticles, you know, people expect to see like the product like on top of the cuticle, you know, flooding it all with the color, but usually it looks more innocent, you know, something like that. Just a tiny small flood that you can, I mean, you can only see it when you look from this angle, but if it's there, then you know, it may be the reason for product lifting. Yeah, this is the video, so I just wanted to show you that, you know, sometimes you may not even notice that. So this is flooding the cuticle with the base coat. Next one, sidewalls. I believe this one is probably more common for nail technicians with some experience, because cuticle area, I think this one is more common for beginners, while sidewalls, this problem usually happens when you already know what you're doing, but still, you know, doing some mistakes. So when we have the product, like the cuticle area is okay, it's all clean, but along the sidewalls, oh my God, everything is lifting. Well, obviously I took some extreme pictures so you can just see it better. Usually it looks not like that exactly, but you know, you get the point. So the reasons are very similar to the cuticle, but sometimes they're a little bit different. Let's say cuticle left along the sidewalls or in the corners, and I'm going to show you that in my demo, how you need to prep the nail in the corners. Flooding sidewalls with a base coat, that's very common. Feel overdue, hyperhidrosis. When the product is not fully cured, that's also very common for the light cured products. And another one, I believe the last three are also very, very common, because when you are working near the cuticle is on top. Okay, so you can see it. And you can see if the product is thick or thin. You can see if the product is touching the skin or not. But when we go along the sidewalls, now along the sidewalls, all of us have different kind of nails, right? Some of us have really opened nail beds, while some of them, like I do, have a really puffy sidewalls. And that's the problem, because in the corners or along the sidewalls, you cannot see everything so clearly. That's why sometimes we simply may not notice if the cuticle is still there, or if the product actually is touching the skin, or if it's just applied too close. And also onychophagia and nail biting is, well, it may be the reason for lifting in any area, but usually it's along the sidewalls or starting from the free edge. How can I fix if I flood the cuticle and don't notice it until it's cured? Catherine is asking. Yeah, that's a great question. Well, ideally you should fix it before curing, but if you didn't notice, then for this reason I have, I'll show you. So I have this, it's called the flame bit, the diamond bit, and normally you use it for pushing up the cuticles. But you can also use it for fixing those. So let me show you. So this is the flame bit, okay, and you should file this sharp edge so it will not be as sharp. And also it's better to use an old one, you know, the one that's been out there for a while. And let's say I have this area flooded. So you simply work at a very low speed, let's say 10 to 12,000 RPMs, you know, right here. And this is how you carefully file it off. Or if it's right here, you do the same. And the flooded part is gone. And well, obviously you need to take off the sticky layer first, okay? Oh, thank you, Carolyn, for sharing. Here's my sidewalls lifting. Yes, oh, thank you for that picture. Yes, exactly. So obviously, well, by the picture, it's really hard to tell what was the reason, but you definitely now want to review all these reasons. Please write them down or take a screenshot so then you can analyze and understand why they're happening. Sashal is asking, the seawater cause lifting? Well, I mean, water overall, whether it's sea or regular water, it does not really cause lifting. Usually it's like a few factors. So no, like being in the water itself will not cause it. I mean, if the nails we have a feel overdue, if we have some additional mistake, let's say the application was a little thick on the sidewalls, then being in salt water for a long time will just add up, okay? But if you did everything correct, the seawater itself, no, it's not going to change. There is actually one thing that seawater does, like we know that our nails, they have layers. So if you are swimming in the sea with a bare, like with the naked nails, with no enhancement on, then this sea crystals, salt crystals, they get stuck between the layers of our nails, and usually it gives an illusion like, wow, my nails are so strong now after I've been to the sea. But once you wash them off, usually it takes like a while, like maybe about a week, and your nails come back to normal. So not really. And let's go to the next one. We have more to learn. So then we have stress area. It's when the lifting is happening right here in the middle. Let me know if anyone had this problem. So we have this bubble in the middle, and the most tricky part about this is that we cannot really see it right away. When we have lifting near the cuticle, usually we can kind of feel it, right? And clients are complaining like, oh, like my nails, they're falling off or they're peeling. When we have lifting along the sidewalls, they're like, oh, my hair gets stuck. But when it's the bubble in the center, unless they have a clear, like glass nails, the see-through, usually you cannot really see it because it's covered with a color. You have some, like another color on top, and you just have no idea what's going on there. So you can see it only when you take off the product. So here the reasons are pretty different from the previous ones. The most common is dorsal layer is damaged. That's the layer on the top, in case you forgot. It's very common and problem for overfiled or damaged nails. When the nail is not built the right way, let's say there's no apex, nails are too flat, or the apex is located on the free edge, the opposite. When it's located on the free edge, then we have thick free edge. So once you start doing something, there's an excess pressure on this area and the product just starts lifting. And the worst part of the stress area lifting is that not just product is going to lift in the middle, but it's also going to tear up some layers of the natural nail. So this kind of lifting is also one of the most damaging to the natural nail. So you need to try to avoid that at all costs. Then we have overfiled sidewalls. Sometimes they're overfiled due to different reasons. Very common one is that when a client has wide or fan nails and we just want to try, to make them look more narrow. So we overfile this. I'm talking about the natural nail sidewalls right now. So we just file them more narrow and narrow, and then we simply do not have enough sidewalls to have an actual nail, and this is when this lifting happens. So even though we do apply product for the structure, the nail itself still has to have its own stress area. Once you overfile the sidewall, the stress area is not complete anymore. Makes sense? Old product leftovers. If you leave some old product, I'm not saying that yes, then it's going to lift 100%. No, of course not. If the product is okay, if there's no change in color, if it's not lifting, then it's all good. But if you see that it's lifting a little bit, if the old product is kind of yellowish or grayish or even like dark, like brown, it's better to take it off. Too much pressure or hitting something. So usually when you hit something really hard, in any direction, usually the product lifts in the middle. Extreme length. Some clients just do not care that they have this super tiny small baby nail beds. They still want like extreme long stilettos. And yeah, I can kind of understand them, but on the other hand, it's not reasonable. So when I have people asking me to do that, I just tell them right away, like, okay, I can do that for you, like no problem, but you just need to be aware that your nail beds are so small, most likely you're just going to break them or they're going to lift. Product is not fully cured. Lamp does not have enough power. Let's say your lamp is 18 watts and you're using a very thick layer of gel. Even though you are going to cure it for a longer time, it's still not going to fully penetrate through this layer, so it's not going to fully cure even if you expose it for 5 minutes. And also internal factors, the ones that we were talking about in the beginning of our lecture, that remember due to diabetes and some certain conditions like health conditions, we may have lifting. So if the product is lifting near the cuticle, along the sidewalls, no, forget about internal factors, all right? Usually it starts happening whether it's the stress area or the entire nail is going to lift right away. Okay, now we have free edge lifting and chipping. So this one is super common when we are doing natural nail overlay, but with extensions we also may have a free edge lifting, and we can see it if we simply turn the hand around, and then we usually see some difference in color. We see yellow or brownish or grayish nails, separating from the product, curving, some food stuck in them. So that's also very common. And these are the reasons why it may happen, such as old product leftovers, long free edge of the natural nail. And this one is also super common. And we're talking about extensions now, okay? Some clients are just begging to not touch their nails underneath, do not file them off, because they just want to keep them. And sometimes it makes sense if they have a perfect nails, but sometimes it doesn't, like at all, because if their nails are curving, they are going to curve. And the product, especially like hard gel, polygel, acrylic, it's not going to. It's just going to stay exactly where you put it, like in a certain curve, while the natural nail wants to do this. Okay, and this is how we have this lifting. So the best way to avoid that is just to file it off. Or if they insist, if they're like, no, I'm not letting you touch my natural nails, then just suggest them to do an overlay with a soft product, such as soft gel, soak-off gel, gel polish. Then we have onycholysis, which is peeling. Like onycholysis is when we have nail bed separating from the nail plate. If we do not have apex, let's say the nails are super flat, it may be the reason as well. Overfiled and damaged nails, absolutely. Actually, most people, oh, I'm sorry guys, that's a mistake, not onycholysis, onychoschisis. That's, in other words, that's peeling nails. And it is very common because usually nails are peeling on the free edge. Even though the name of this disease sounds a bit scary, this is like, it's just very typical. Many people have that. And the best way to avoid that is just to file the nails as short as possible. But if the nails are peeling not only on the free edge, but the entire surface, then we can still buff it, we can still do extensions. We may experience some lifting after 2 to 3 weeks, but once the nails start outgrow with the product, once it's covered with the product, it's not going to peel anymore because we have a protection on top. So then this problem will not come back. Then if we have cracks on the natural nail, that's very common when we have them on the sides. If the product is not fully cured, if there's an excess pressure, let's say we're opening some kind of nuts, like peanuts or just other kind of nuts when you need to peel them, nail biting, and when the product is not suitable for particular nails. Let's say we have a super thin, damaged, flexible nails, and we take dip or acrylic for an overlay. That's definitely wrong. For this kind of nails, I would definitely recommend soft gel or gel polish. Okay, I will take a look at the questions because it seems like we have so many. How do you know if something is overfiled? Mariko, that's actually a great question. Well, normally, the healthy nail, let me switch back to another view. So normally this is how the healthy nail should look like. It's like pink. We have a slight oily shine on top. It has whitish free edge. Well, sometimes it may be more white, sometimes it may be more transparent. It's all totally fine. When it's overfiled, you will usually see some kind of spots. Usually they're pink or red. You will see like changes in color. I actually believe I will have some pictures ahead in my presentation with the overfiled nails. But also it's the surface. Like you see, normally the nail is smooth, but once you see some dips in it, or usually you may even see some traces like scratches from the file or the e-file, so that means that the nail is overfiled. Entire nail bed area. Sometimes the lifting is that bad that the entire nail bed leads. I believe we don't even need that here, because you see this pink area? This is where the product is not lifting. So this is a reason why this nail has not fallen off yet. But as you can see, it's about to. Well, there are many reasons why it had happened, like all the previous reasons we just mentioned. It can be most of them, but in general it may also be nail prep, like it was not done correctly. Something's wrong with the product application, when the product is not suitable for these particular nails. But also there are two things I didn't mention earlier that may be the reason for stress area or entire nail bed lifting, which is expired product, or primer or dehydrator is contaminated. And I did this mistake a few times actually, so I really want to explain it a little bit more and to warn you guys. So what does it mean? So this is what happens. When we are using a dehydrator, like some dehydrators are in a tube, and you use them like together with a lint-free tissue, then it's fine. But most of them have brush in them, so you need to like take it off and then you apply it, right? And this is what usually happens. Okay, just never mind my nails. So you just apply it on one nail, on the next nail, on the next nail, and on the next nail, and then what do you usually do? Let's be honest. You just put it back, right? Even if you did this prep really well, what do we have on these nails? Well, okay, let me maybe give you a better example. Here I have a natural nail. So we have some dust, right, because we were filing. We have some oil leftovers, well, from the nail, right? What else? Well, some contaminants. So once you touch them with this brush and do not do this, do not clean it before putting it back, that's mean you basically put some oils from the nail plate as well as a little bit of dust back in the bottle. Once you do it like repeatedly, you can actually see it in the bottle. Well, you cannot see it on mine because I'm doing it clean. Well, also it's new, so it's kind of early for that. Unfortunately, I do not have the one to show you, but at some point I noticed there were, like some kind of flakes right there in the dehydrator. And the next, which is even worse, the same thing with the primer. So once you apply the primer, the same thing happens. This dust, oils, and contaminants get into the brush, and if you do not clean it after touching the client's nail and put it back into the bottle, then we're going to contaminate the primer. And once again, we'll have these flakes on the bottom. Also, usually, unfortunately, you cannot use primer all the way to the bottom, because if you notice that at some point the consistency has changed, the consistency is thicker, it's not as liquid as it used to be, and you may also even feel like it's I don't know, like gooey consistency, like it's some kind of gel or something. Let me guys know if anyone has seen this. The problem, so once you do, please throw it away, because it's definitely not going to work and not going, you're not going to, get a good result. Do you cut the brushes? Luis is asking. No, I do not. Like these gelish brushes, they go as short brushes, which in my opinion is just awesome, because you I mean, it will just force you to not apply too much. But you can also do that with the scissors. You can cut the brush so it will be shorter, okay? I noticed this recently. Natasha's sharing. I had so much dust in my dehydrator, bottle settled at the bottom. So please check your dehydrator and primer bottles if you see this. So unfortunately, you need to throw it away because it's not like you can take these flakes out. I mean, the entire product is contaminated, and it's not just not doing its work. You're basically putting oils on the nails instead of dehydrating them. Hope it makes sense. And let's talk about the prep products, since we talked about the primer and the hydrator, and I will give you more information. Marina's sharing, oh my God, I just saw it in my primer. Yeah, well, now that you guys know, you just need to clean it all the time before putting it back in the bottle, and you will not see. Well, I mean, at some point it will still be a little bit, but you can use it almost all the way, like up to 1/6 of the bottle. You know, when it's very low on the bottom, it's still better to throw it away, but at least it will not be like that when you're just halfway through a bottle. For the prep, we have dehydrator and we have primer. First, after you take off the surface shine, you use dehydrator and then you use primer. Dehydrator, it dehydrates the nail plate. So hydra is water in Latin. So dehydrator means it's taking the moisture off, like taking the water off. And that's exactly what we want dehydrator to do. And the primer creates a bond between the nail and the product. Sanitizer or antiseptic is good for sanitizing your hands, for cleaning surfaces. It may be even also good for nails when you want to clean the dust off, you know, just clean the sidewalls, but it cannot replace the dehydrator. Okay, so this is a different product. Dehydrator helps to get rid of excess oils and moisture in the nail, so any product will adhere to it better. That's why we use the first one. How do you know if the product is dehydrator? Because now in today's market, it's so easy to get confused because we have so many different products and you're like, oh my God, is this dehydrator or what? Because they have so many different names. I've seen dehydrators with the names as pH bond, pre-primer, pro bond, nail prep, and so much more. First thing, they usually have a water-like consistency, like they're really running like liquid, like an actual water. Also, they evaporate quickly. Once you apply it on the nail, it's going to evaporate within a few seconds. Usually it's transparent looking liquid, not necessarily clear. Sometimes it may be pink clear, blue clear, but it's still like transparent. Usually there's whether no odor or a slight smell that's similar to sanitizer or alcohol. And the last thing, if you're still not sure, you may read the ingredients list and you will usually see at least one of those, whether it's ethyl acetate, isobutyl acetate, or isopropyl alcohol. And let me give you an examples. Let's say we have this one by Entity. Well, this one, luckily, thanks, it says directly nail dehydrator, so we do not have any doubts. But let's still check, you know, just to be sure. Ingredients: isopropyl alcohol, ethyl acetate. So we are now 100% sure that this is dehydrator. Next one, nail prep. Now, this is not as obvious anymore, right? Well, it says that it's dehydrated, but still we want to be sure. So we read the ingredients. Isopropyl alcohol, ethyl acetate, butyl acetate. Yes, this is definitely dehydrator. Nail pure, sanitize, dehydrate. So once you see the word dehydrate, once again, pretty much this is dehydrator, and yes, is a butyl acetate. So yeah, we see this one. Then we have pH bond. Well, this one also says dehydrator. And let's see, isopropyl alcohol, ethyl acetate. All right, and Pre-nail prep. You see another name for dehydrator. And we read in the ingredients: isopropyl alcohol, acetone, and so on. So these are dehydrators. I hope that now you guys will be able to tell if this is the product that you need. Then we are going to talk about primers. And the most common question is, should I use acid or non-acid primer? I've also heard about the primers like semi-acid or something like that. Well, normally primer, it's whether acid or non-acid. And they're slightly different. Let's talk about the acid primer first. The easiest way to figure out whether it's an acid primer, just read the ingredient list, and it's 92 to 100% methacrylic acid. It also usually have a protective cap because, I mean, you definitely don't want to touch that. One time I accidentally spilled it on my leg and it was burning like hell. You definitely don't want to touch it ever with your skin. Usually it has a dark glass bottle. It has a very strong vinegar-like odor, and usually the brush is short. In some brands, these things may differ sometimes, but this is like very common. So let's say this one, the one that you saw in the picture, you see this cap that you cannot just open. You need to, to turn, then you need to open, and then we have a very short brush. And yeah, you can definitely feel this odor. So this is an anti-tea primer, again with the protective cap, and this one is as well. So read the ingredient list, and now you can see methacrylic acid. So this one's definitely acid. Again, methacrylic acid and methacrylic acid. So yeah, no doubts that this is an acid one. And then we have a non-acid primer. Oh, I'm sorry, there's another slide. So acid primer is really good for hyperhidrosis clients, for oily nails, and for thick nails. Actually, I'm going to explain how they work and you will understand. So you can just, write this down if you want, but I really want you guys to understand how they work so it will make sense for you. So this is the nail from the side view. When you're using acid primer, this is how it works. Well, first when you take in 180 or like 240 grit file and take off the surface shine, what happens? These layers of the nail plate, they slowly start to open up, so you will have a better adhesion with the product. Then you apply dehydrator. It like cleans the oils, the moisture, and these layers open up a little bit more. And once you apply acid primer, they are doing something like that. Like it's also drying up the surface of the nail plate even more. And now we have that's why we have this crazy adhesion now, and once you apply the product, it's going to adhere to it really well. So this is how acid primer works. All right, now we have a non-acid. So we do all the same for the prep. We take off the surface shine, we apply dehydrator, so all these layers open up a little bit, but then you apply non-acid primer. And this is what it does. You just apply it on top, and it creates its own bond with the nail plate. And on the top, it also creates another bond to adhere to the product. So basically it works like a double-sided tape, Scotch tape. So then you apply the product like here on top, and it connects to the primer. Okay, so what you need to understand from these structures is that non-acid primer does not involve the nail plate itself as much as an acid primer do. And that's why the acid primer is good. It's actually awesome for hyperhidrosis clients, because what do we have when we have hyperhidrosis? Over excessive moisture on top of the nail plate. And what acid primer does, it takes off this moisture off, and we need this extra help right here. Oily nails, same thing. Thick nails. But if you have a client with thin or damaged or overfiled nails, then I strongly do not recommend to use acid primer at all. And also, I recommend using acid primer only when you're working with acrylic system. Okay? For light cured, for gel systems, it is better to use a non-acid. Okay. So I have a question for you guys. I just want to check if you understood what I said, if you've been listening. So here's a quick question for you. Now, which product is this one? The name is really tricky, right? Primex Bonder. So it could be a primer, it could be a dehydrator. So please write it in the chat. I mean, you should be able to already tell without me showing you the ingredients list, but okay, I will show you. So let me know which one this is. Me too. I had the same situation. I dropped in my leg and it was burning. Oh my God. Oh yes, definitely. Is it bad if dehydrator gets on the skin, Marina? Well, not as bad as the primer. I mean, normally, ideally, you should not get any product to get into your skin, but if it's dehydrator, no, it's not as bad. Well, you should avoid getting primer on your skin at all costs. Dehydrator, not really. Actually, on hyperhidrosis clients, you can even apply it on the skin, but only dehydrator. Both. Okay, so yes, I see most of the replies are dehydrator. Good job, guys. So yeah, this one is dehydrator. Why? Because I still see some wrong answers. Some people say it's primer, some people say it's both. Well, yeah, I mean, as for the name, but you see, it's very liquid, it's water-like consistency, it's clear. We have a clear bottle. We do not see any, okay, never mind, okay. We do not see any protective cap. We see a regular brush. And the last one is definitely the ingredients list. We see ethyl acetate, we see butyl acetate, so this is like 100% dehydrator, even though you see the name is kind of confusing. All right. But let's smell it. Yeah, well, I wish we had technologies that I will be able to, give you this product to smell it. Okay, let's move further, guys, because we have so much more to cover up. So does it mean that should nail prep always be the same for all kinds of nails? Well, it's very similar, but it's not exactly like the same. So I want to give you some important slides on when the nail prep should be slightly different. When you're dealing with normal nails, or I would say perfect nails, healthy nails, nails without any problems, like this ones, just regular random nails, well, we can consider this person to be lucky because we can do anything we want, any product will work. If we see thin, brittle, damaged nails, you should definitely need to prep with care. Okay, do not press too much, do not press with the file, be super gentle. I will definitely recommend to use 240 grit file instead of 180 or buffer. But when you're using buffer for prep, which is okay, but you need to be careful because do not use a super soft buffers. Let's say 280 grit. Okay, the buffer should be also at least 240. Definitely use non-acid primer. And one of the best things for adhesion for this kind of nails is a soak-off base coat. Yes, the one that you use for gel overlays, the same one you use for gel polishes. And you can apply a thin coat of the Sock-Off base coat, and then you can do gel overlay. You can do gel extensions, and you can even do acrylic extensions. Before this webinar, I received a very good question from Jill. I don't know if you're watching now. She attended a few of my live classes in Los Angeles. So she said that she has a client that does acrylic, and for some reason she doesn't want to cure her nails in LED lamp, so she cannot offer her gels. But her nails are lifting. So I suggested to try base coat and acrylic on top. So, I mean, if for some, let's say if you're just more skilled to work with acrylic and you want to do acrylic, or there's a certain design you know that you will better do with acrylic, you can use a Sock-Off base coat, apply a thin coat, take the sticky layer off, slightly buff it so it will be matte, and then you can apply acrylic. If you are going to use gel or polygel further, you do not need to do that. Just continue working. When we have oily nails or hyperhidrosis, I recommend you first of all to use alcohol-based sanitizer for hands, because we want to dehydrate the hands first. Then use Dehydrator on nails and skin around them at least 2 times. And then you use acid primer. And the best product here, in my opinion, is definitely acrylic system for extension, or you can use dip for overlays, but only for this type of nails. I mean, for other types, we can go with any. And then we have Bitten Nails. Usually they're very short. And here we need to do cuticle care and prep, because usually when the people are biting not just nails but also the skin around their nails, it's spreading like crazy. So we need to clean it really well so it's not going to lift. And I think the best 2 combinations of the products here are whether it's acid primer and acrylic system, or Sock-Off base coat with hard gel or polygel. Because yes, I know that some gel systems have a special base coat, like, you know, the base coat for the hard gel. But in my experience, and trust me, like most clients that I work with have nails like that. I mean, if you've been following me for a while, you've seen that. I do not really have many clients with perfect nails. Most of them are like that. So that's why, you know, I had an opportunity to experiment with them a lot and see what works better. So Sock-Off base coat plus hard gel or polygel is so much better compared to the original gel. All right, it seems like it's time for a demo. Let me know if you guys are ready. I will quickly check if we have any questions. What if you have oily nails that are also very thin? Well, it's all also oily nails that are also very thin. Well, if they're really thin, I would recommend then to use Sock-Off base coat, like the same as for Bitten. Sock-Off base coat and hard gel or polygel, or acrylic, but Sock-Off base coat first. What primer and dehydrator do you recommend? I use Macard, but I've heard Young Nails Pro Bond is very good. Well, honestly, I haven't really seen like really bad primers. I mean, most of them are pretty good as long as they're not contaminated. As I showed you previously, you need to clean them and you apply them really well. So like it's really hard. Like I said, I've never had this kind of problem like, oh, this primer was probably bad. That's why the nails fell off. Like, well, the ones that I use the one from Gelish. I have NSI primers that work pretty well for me. As for acid primers, also I believe they're very, very similar. The same thing for Dehydrator. So I use Nail Pure Plus, I use Entity, and I use, recently I used Gelish a lot. But an acid primer is still needed or non-acid, Janet is asking. Acid primer, you really need that if you're working with acrylic. because at some point you will have clients with hyperhidrosis or oily nails. And non-acid primer, yes, 100% you need it. I use it for most clients, for like 95% of the clients, and acid is only for hyperhidrosis or oily nails. So I'm seeing that you guys are sending me some pictures of your products. So I gave you the guidelines, like how you can check which the product is which. But sometimes, of course, there may be exceptions. Like some manufacturers may still, let's say, use clear glass bottle for the primer, right? Sometimes there may be exceptions. That's why you need to check them all. And if there's no ingredient list, then unfortunately, I don't know how to check it. So then the best way will be to contact manufacturer. Usually they have to be able not just to give you information about it, but also to send you an MSDS sheet. Like recently I was doing one of research. I will actually share it with you sometime later. And I asked for MSDS for this Cupa products, and they just sent me it within a few hours. How can you tell if your client has oily nails or not? Oh, that's simple. You just take a look at this. You will know it right away. Tio is asking. So they are very shiny, like the person just washed their hands and didn't clean the water off, like this one in the picture. They are like super shiny. Then you take the surface shine off with a buffer, like 15 to 20 minutes passes, and then you see the shine again. So they're like super oil, like there's an actual oil on top of them. Like you will be able to tell right away. All right, let's do the prep. And I am going to use my friend for this one, Red Iguana, because I would like to show you one trick, guys. I'm putting my gloves on, even though I'm working with not with a real model. I still don't want, to touch products and even files. I don't want to take the shine off some of my fresh finished nails. Can you use a drip nozzle to apply primer instead of the brush? Tanya's asking. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. I know what you're asking. Well, the primer should be applied in a very thin coat. And when you're using this drip nozzle, I believe it's kind of hard. And you also need to apply it on the entire surface without touching the nail plate. So I would still recommend to use the brush, because it still may go a little bit too close to the skin. I mean, it's good in terms that you're not touching the nail plate, but not really when it comes, to certain nail types where it will make the difference. I am switching to another camera so you guys can see, and here's my Red Iguana friend. I just want to show you also one trick with the prep, and it's and since I am going to do then demo on myself, and I just want to show you some tricks when you're holding the client's hand. So I'm using the black tip so you can just see it better. And once you prep the nail, you need to take the surface shine off. And if you do not have much experience, you just want to practice, you can also use any tips to do that. So I have a black tip so you can see it even better. So normally when we see natural nails, we have some spreading cuticle right here. So after you push it back, you also want to file it off with a file. That's why I recommend to start working near the cuticle like that. I'm sorry guys, I'm not going to go super close to the cuticle because I really care about my favorite model. Okay, so I'm going to leave a little gap. Like in real life, you need to go as close as possible. Okay, so near the cuticle, it's pretty simple, as well as in the middle. But now, as you get closer to this area, usually what happens? Usually when I see how nail techs prep the nails, they do this, then they do the middle, and these corners are just left out, while these are the most important ones. Remember when we've been talking about the lifting along the sidewalls. So here's the trick. Oh my God, everything's so dusty. So this is the file, and you need to hold it slightly different. So this is my palm. Okay. Can we unzoom the camera a little bit so we can see further? Okay. Maybe I can show you like that. So, okay, this is the file. You need to hold it with your hand. Like normally, right, you hold it like that or like that. I mean, there are different ways. But when you do this, you need, if you're using a half moon file like I do, you need to turn this straight line right here. Okay, this is, well, I have a huge hands, obviously, so yeah, it's a little bit helpful. And then you hold it like this. Okay, once again, this is my palm, 2 or 3 fingers here, and the index finger goes on top. So now you are controlling this corner. You should not hold it like that when you're just shaping the nails. I mean, it just will not be comfortable, okay? So going back to our hand, okay, my index finger is on top, and now I'm in control of this corner, and now I can easily reach it. Sometimes you may even want to do this, so, you know, a little bit back and forth. And what do we see now? Yay, now this corner is covered and it's matte. All right, so this is how we can reach it. And the same thing with the opposite. So with the opposite, you just turn the file around if you use the one like I have. Like if you have like a square shaped file, then obviously you do not need to do that. And once again, your index finger is right here, and this is how you control this corner. So this is the most important areas where you need to take off, oops, sorry. Yes, now it's all good. The nail is back into its original position. So once you do that, that's the most important part. And then you just, you know, the middle is easy. I mean, there's no way you're doing any mistakes here. You just take it off in this direction from the cuticle towards the free edge, and that's it. Okay, that's simple. But one of the most common reasons for sidewalls lifting, remember we've been talking about that, is when you do not take the shine off from right here, because usually the file goes like this and this area is just missing. Okay, so do not forget about this trick with the index finger on top when working through the corner. Wouldn't we be using an e-file to prep? Yeah, well, in this webinar, we will be talking about simply a way to prep, because we're covering more basic topics. But yes, of course, if you already have a skill to work with the e-file, then yeah, definitely we can use an e-file as well. But actually, when you are prepping the cuticle and pushing them back, absolutely, I use e-file myself. But to take the surface shine off, I did some experiments with myself, with my few clients, and you know what's interesting? It's still, the results were still better when I was using the hand file compared to the, you know, the similar file, but with the e-file, if it makes sense. But I'm talking only about the prep of the nail plate, not the cuticles. All right, so now it is time for another demo for extensions. You guys ready? So I'm taking my glove off. I just want to, oh guys, have you solved some problem? This is not primer, but oil. Oh, wow. Interesting. So was there some bottle that you guys thought was supposed to be a primer, but it was oil? Oh, I think I can see that. Can I use normal file to box the natural nail? Depending on what do you consider normal file, but yeah, absolutely. Wow, we have almost 600 people online watching. Thank you guys. And I'm also really glad that you are interested in this kind of topic, because I always thought that, everybody wants to see nail art and, some beautiful stuff. I mean, this stuff is like more technical. So I'm really glad that you guys are like interested and so you are such a good listeners, because I think this is also truly important. So I have my nail off. So we can do this prep. And I will be using gel. Okay, let me take the products first. I'm going to need primer, non-acid primer, Dehydrator, yes, right here. I'm going to use a base coat, gel, and some glitter. Right, I'm going to do something shiny today. Some color, some form. Okay, but let's do the prep first. Well, since I just took the product off, I do have some leftovers here, and I do not really have any lifting, but I'm just, just going to slightly file it off. I don't know if you guys can see it that well with the quality of the stream, but here we have a nail and here we have a product. So if you have a product that did not change its color, that is not lifting, then it is absolutely fine to leave it unless it's a regular nail polish. If it's a nail polish, you need to take it off. But if it's a gel, acrylic, polygel, anything, it's totally fine to leave it. It's even better to leave it so you will, not overfile your natural nail even more. Can you use a non-acid primer and a UV bonder together? Allison is asking. Well, I assume UV bonder is like kind of like a base coat. Well, yeah, I know there are also some primers that are supposed to be cured. Well, it really depends on the system you're using. But normally, if UV bonder is kind of like a base coat, then yeah, absolutely. Now, let's push back the cuticles. If you're using an orange wood stick, it's better to use the side of the orange wood stick rather than middle, because this one is not as sharp. Okay, so you push back it not only right here, but also go all the way to the side. And yes, like I said, normally I use e-file for cuticle prep, but today we're going to skip this part because I really want guys today's to be our topic, our, most important topic is lifting and nail prep and application, right? I just figured out it's so much better when we have just one webinar, one topic, okay? It's because we cannot, unfortunately, cover everything at once. Now remember something I just showed you with this hand. So we go from the cuticle area to the side. And now we need to do this corner. Well, luckily I do have some skin here. You see this one? And we can actually push it, try to push it back a little bit, but most importantly, I need to get rid of it with a file. And we can do this with the corner of the file, and this part is very tricky. You need to clean it well, but also that's it, by the way. You do not need to overfile it, because sometimes I've seen nail technicians, trying so hard that they end up with the overfiled sidewalls, which is also bad. So you need, try to find this balance. Looks like we still have a little left over here. Okay, so if you, let's say for some reason, they may be different reasons, you cannot reach some area, let's say this one, and take, file it off, and you're afraid, you're worried that you may damage or overfile the nail, do you know what you need to do to avoid lifting in this area? You need to apply the product right here. Because if you will go with the product like on top, then Well, actually, guys, if you want, I can quickly show you like a little bit of prep with the e-file, but you know, just a quick one that I would do in this case. Then we do another direction. Well, since I just took off the product and the shine, I do not really need to file a lot here, and that's it. That's pretty much the same. Okay, so let me actually, yeah, luckily I do have the bit that I need. I just want to show you that the e-file prep just gives you an opportunity to go a little bit deeper, a little bit further right there, which is nice, but it is so important to do it carefully and, you know, with a certain technique, because if you have never worked with the e-file, I will definitely not recommend using that, because it's so much easier, you know, to make things even worse. Okay, so I'm going to use this diamond bit at a very low speed, like 14,000 rotations per minute. I will turn it even slower so you guys can see. So you see the only difference is with the prep that I can go like right here. It's almost impossible to reach this area if I would have used a regular nail file. But I'm not saying that it's not possible to prep the nails without the e-file. It's definitely, I mean, it is possible. All right, and that's it. It just gives us an opportunity to clean a little deeper, which means we can apply the product a little closer to the cuticle. But if you have problems with lifting, or if you're just getting started, I strongly recommend you to not try to apply the product too close to the skin yet. It's better to leave it a little margin. And then I worked on the reverse mode, the opposite side, and that's it. I mean, that's enough for the prep. All right? Is soak off the same as rubber base? Soak off gel means it's like you can take it off using special removal liquid. And rubber base, usually word rubber means that it's thick consistency base. So normally, yes, I mean, yeah, I believe I haven't seen rubber base that is a hard gel. But, I mean, there could be. What is the best, scissors or nippers for the cuticle? Oh, Marina, this is like, what is better, acrylic or gel? Like, I prefer scissors because for some reason they work for me better, but I've seen nail technicians doing magic with nippers. So, no, it's, you know, it's just whatever you like. All right, let's do the prep. First, we apply Dehydrator. Well, since I have a normal nails, there's nothing going. Okay, first we need to make sure that it's Dehydrator. And once you're sure, okay guys, now I'm going to ask you an important question. After I apply Dehydrator on my nail, what do I do next? Oh, you see how quickly it evaporates? And while I'm waiting for your reply, I'm going to read some of your questions. When we push back the cuticle, which tool is the best to remove the protein growth? Is it a trimmer or an e-file? Oh, yeah, we just talked. Well, I mean, e-file is okay. Scissors or nippers, they are going to remove like the cuticle on top, but from the nail plate, you still need to use whether an e-file or a regular file. Can you use acetone as dehydrator, Vanessa? That's a great question. And well, my personal opinion that it's still better to use dehydrator because acetone will dry the nail plate too much. So if the person has brittle or dry nails already, it's not going to do very well for them. Wipe the brush before putting back in the bottle. Exactly. Well, good job, guys. So yes, you touch the nail, and after that, the next thing you do, you clean it and then put it back. Wipe off your brush. Awesome. Good job. You being listening very well. And then we take non-acid primer. So since I'm doing just one nail on myself, I'm going to, to use a tiny, tiny bit of the primer. Actually, using too much primer is also bad. It's not really going to cause lifting, but it may cause, it's not going to be good for the nail plate. Now, when applying primer, you need to have a little margin. Do not touch the skin. It's okay if you're not going to cover all of the cuticle area. Whoops, well, probably I squeezed off too much. Now I do not have any product at all. And carefully apply it like that. So since this is a non-acid primer, we do not really need to wait for, well, I have a product right here, remember? So it may look a little bit like it's shiny, but it's okay. Sorry, do you not clean the nail before using Dehydrator? Well, yeah, you clean it from the dust. What do you mean by cleaning? Well, I just take the dust off. If you mean using some sanitizer or cleanser, then yes, you can do that. Our most common brands of dehydrator and primer have the same ingredients. Well, primers, yes. Dehydrators, they vary. As far as I can read the ingredients list. But like I said, I've never really seen haven't really worked with bad dehydrators or something. It's just some of them have a really good smell, some of them don't. And I'm not saying that all products are the same. No, definitely not, but it's just better. Usually we use some brand more often than the others. So I just would recommend you your favorite gel brand or acrylic brand, just buy the prep products from the same brand. And then I'm going to apply the base coat. This is a soak-off base coat, and I recommend to use it at all times, whether you're doing hard gel or polygel. See, there's a little margin from the cuticle. Do not go too close, as well as from the sidewalls. If you're going to touch the skin right now, and then you're not going to touch it with your hard gel, it still may cause lifting. Okay, so yeah, probably we need some macro lens here so you can see it, guys. And also I apply it really close. But if you know for some reason that you couldn't reach this further corner when you've been doing prep, it's better to have a little even more margin than that, and cure it for 30 seconds. And while we're curing, I'm going to read questions. What if primer gets on the skin? How can you clean it later? Oh, you clean it right away, not later. You just take the regular tissue or wipe and clean it right away, because if it's acid primer, actually I don't even know, there's going to be a burn. If it's non-acid primer, well, no, it's not going to be something bad right away. Well, it depends on the skin. Actually, some clients might have some allergic reactions, but you definitely need to clean it right away, do not wait. Doesn't sanitizer cause problems since it contains current ingredients for the hands such as glycerin? Tios, that's a very good question. And yes, some sanitizer have that. That's why if you want to use it for cleaning hands, or I actually recommend it for using with oily hyperhidrosis nails, you need to see that it is an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. There is special alcohol-based sanitizers. They usually do not have that. But if you're not sure, then yeah, it's better to not use that. If you need to clean the surface of the nail plate from the dust or something, you can also use a cleanser, the liquid that takes off the sticky layer. Why base coat? Because I'm going to use because I'm going to use a hard gel. If a client has thick nails with ridges, would acid primer be the best to use? No, not really. Actually, ridges create the surface that is not super even. And the adhesion will be even better. So you can use any primer or any product with this kind of nail. Usually, honestly, on thick nails, most products work pretty well. All right, so I pre-cut the form, so we will not waste time. Let me unlock my controller so I can switch back to this camera. Yeah, so I pre-cut the form, so we will not waste too much time on that one. And, oh, okay, I actually forgot. So we are going to do some cool design here. I just put the form on, and during last month, you guys, I've been recording so many new lessons for form fitting, for this updated online class that we have. By the way, at the end of this webinar, I'm going to talk about this, and also there will be a giveaway of one of these classes. So I'm saying that because, I mean, I've got so many forms to show all the possible mistakes, you know, all like how to do it right, how to do it wrong. So I mean, right now I feel I can do it like almost with my eyes closed. So, you know, that's just what practice. I mean, I'm doing this a lot anyways, but I've been just doing this too much during the last month. So just the more you do something, the faster you get skilled at it. Like, you know, it works with everything. So I'm just checking it from different views to be sure that it's okay, I guess. Should you do the prep before applying form or it's on? Chantel, well, you can do either way. For our like beginners class, I definitely recommend to put the form on first, because I mean, if you touch the nail, it's not good. I just apply the form really carefully without touching it. So it's okay both ways, but for beginners, I definitely recommend to put the form on first. All right, and now we are going to use gel, but believe it or not, even though I have gazillions of products, I happen to not have the light blue gel, but I want it. And we are going to create it. I'm going to use a white gel. I mean, white is pretty common, right? I'm sorry, this is probably not the best, like to show white on white, but okay, I think that's enough. And then you can use gel polish. I'm pretty sure that you guys have so many colors of gel polishes. And when you're mixing gel with the dry pigment, then you need to be careful, because once you add too much, you may have problems with curing. But when you add gel polish, oh wow, that's a bird. Oh, that's a bat. You do not have this problem because gel polish will be fully cured in the lamp, right? So you do not need to worry about that. Well, you can obviously cannot create like a black, or I do not recommend doing dark colors using this method, but any light, bright pastel shades, you know, regular colors, perfect. Because, I mean, gel and polygel, they're very similar. Well, obviously this mixture, since I used the hard gel, it's not going to soak off anymore, because, you know, the main gel, the white one that we used, is a hard gel. Ooh, I actually like the color. What do you guys think? It's pretty. And now I'm going to apply it on the free edge. Okay, so let me decide how should I hold it for you guys so you can see. Apply it on the free edge. I think I will go with the medium length and square, yeah, probably square shape, because I have square on the rest of my nails. So it will kind of match. So now I'm building only the tip of the nail. Okay, let me put the lamp a little closer to myself so I can hold it and you guys also can see. And by the way, I also added a few lessons for this new class on how to work on yourself, because we've noticed that most of our students are using themselves as the models like all the time. And even though it's it's great, I think, but there are still a few differences. When you're working with a client, you need to hold their hand in a certain way. When you're working on yourself, it's also slightly different. So I thought it would be nice to include that. When you're working with a color, it's nice that you can actually see if there is something wrong with the surface. Like right now, we can see that it's pretty thick on the sides, and we do not have enough in the center. Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm jumping all over the frame. But when it's a color or like a white gel, you can see it immediately. When you're working with a clear acrylic, then it's not as obvious. So that's why it's always better to practice with something that has color. Slightly move it to the side. This first step is really important, because if you have a nice surface right here, then it will be just easier for you to apply the next layers. And the opposite is true as well. If it's very uneven, it will be extremely hard to achieve an even surface in the future. You can also do this, just turn the hand around and let the gravity help you a little bit. It's so relaxing watching you apply the gel. Thank you, Diane. Yeah, I actually do find it relaxing myself. Well, not watching, applying. And yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm not in a rush, right? It's not like I'm rushing somewhere. I'm just, taking my time, enjoying this and curing. Cure it. Anastasia, I thought it's not recommended to mix soft gels and hard gels because the soft will crack. Well, if you add just a tiny drop to add color, then it's okay. Well, yeah, normally, these products are different because, the hard gel is like the non-flexible, the soft gel is. So yeah, that's a good point. But when you, just add a little bit for the color, then it's okay. Okay. So that's it. I'm not going to use this color anymore. We just have a color tip. That will be enough for us. And then I'm going to use only the clear gel. And we're going to add some shine. So this one is Plasma Gel by Cuticle. Really enjoy working with this gel recently. And of course, we're going to use some glitter. Do you always pinch? Most of the times, not always. But yeah, most of the time. Well, for my nails, sometimes I can actually skip that. But I think, I don't need to do it now, as you can see, because it's already narrow, but maybe on the next layer. So I would like to add some glitter, and I'm going to use a clear gel. Okay, where do we have the focus? Okay, right here. Awesome. On the nail. Yes, great. I'm going to use some clear gel and apply, well, probably that's even too much. All I need to do now is just apply a little bit of gel, so we will have like a sticky surface for the glitter. And you guys need to help me decide where should we put more glitter. My original idea is that, you see, so I'm using this mixture of glitters. So some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. So I thought it would be nice if we put a little bit more in the center, and then we will apply smaller ones right here, you know, to the cuticle area and to the bottom, so it will look like some kind of fade. But you know, when it comes for glitter, it's kind of no such thing as not enough shine. But we need to stop at some point, obviously. I just really want to hide this area where my natural nail is, so it will not be showing up once it grows. You know what, with this color also, what kind of design will be nice, I just did this a lot recently. You can apply more glitter to the cuticle and then create a fade towards the free edge. I believe this one is going to work really well too. Okay, now we have a focus. Okay, obviously we do not have enough glitter here. Empty spot, no glitter alert. Let's add it right here. Yeah, you see, I actually enjoy doing glitters recently. Well, at some point we need to stop, and then we can freeze cure it for around like 5 seconds just to secure this glitters. I actually planned to add a tiny bit of glitter, and as usual ended up adding a lot. Oh, and I'm not curing. Can we clean brush with alcohol while working? Yeah, you can. Well, however, I do not recommend to do that with a brush that you use for hard gel or designs with a gel. For polygel brush, it's okay, since this liquid that we use together with polygel is still alcohol based. Oh, why did I close the gel? I don't really know, because we need it. Okay, back to the application. Now I need to apply the gel on top. So first I'm going to apply a thin coat on the entire surface, and then I'm going to encapsulate it. So I'm afraid it will not be very comfortable for me in this position, so we will flip it like that. Oh, I think it will be even better for you guys too. So once I will be applying, I will hold it a little bit down, so the product is not going to flood the cuticle area. But first, a thin coat of gel on the entire surface. Wow. Once we encapsulate it, the glitter is going to look even better. Oh, you'll see. Okay, let me find a good angle so it will be visible for you guys. And then we take gel and start the application. So we need to have a little bit near the cuticle. Whoops. Okay, so I'm sorry, but this is going to be fast before it floods my sidewalls. And I'm going back and forth, to the right, to the left. So if you're working with a thin consistency gel, or like medium thin like this one, okay, so we already flooded the sidewall, and I will show you how to fix that. So first I turn the hand around, so we will have the gel concentrated in the center. So once you have product flooded somewhere, you need to clean it. Okay, so you guys can see, whether with an orange wood stick or with a lint-free wipe, preferably with some alcohol. Because even if you will, clean it with a brush, oops, I'm so sorry. With a brush, the product will still want to go there, because we already have this sticky gel path on your skin. I don't know if it makes sense. So that's why I'm going to use this wipe to clean it. Okay. Also, when you need to apply the gel on the nail that has a length like this one, you can also do it in 2 steps. That will be a bit easier. I mean, you will not need to work that fast. And honestly, like normally in real life, I do not hold the nail that long. I just, want to be able to speak and to explain it to you. So this is what we have. Okay, cure. Just quickly checking, if it's all good. Also, if the sidewall is flooded, most likely your client or you will experience heat spikes. I mean, you still can experience heat spikes. But normally, if the skin is flooded, you will experience even more. Actually, I do have one now. So once you do, you need to take it off the lamp. And the reason I have it now, the layer I applied was pretty thick, but most importantly, this lamp, it's, I believe it's like 48 or 56 watts, like it's definitely way too powerful for most gels. So it's better to use, a regular one at 36 watts. Okay. And also, the best way to eliminate that is to use a low heat mode. It's just on this exact lamp, I do not have it. Okay, so it's been, I believe it's been a few seconds. Let's see if it's okay to pinch it at this point. I will take the form off. Carefully. Okay, so once you take the form off, you just separate it and then go down. Okay. I forgot my pinching tool, so we're going to use only the clip, which is totally fine. Okay, so this is how you apply it. It's supposed to touch both sidewalls, and here we have a curve. Yeah, I think it's okay. And I'm going to cure for remaining 40 or something seconds. I'm sorry, guys, I was a bit out of the your questions because I was really focused on the nail, so it will not go somewhere. What causes heat spikes? How can I avoid heat spikes? Well, one of the most common reasons recently are because we buy super powerful lamps, let's say 48 watts, that are supposed to cure everything, and they do, but they cause heat spikes just because the product you're using is not designed for such a power. So how to avoid that? Use thicker layers and fully cure them. Use low heat mode. There are lamps that have that and it works great. Also, do not apply, usually heat spike is very common for clear or transparent gels when you apply a really thick coat at once, like I just did. With nude gels, with color gels, it like most likely does not really happen. Or you can also do the same just using 2 coats. Just apply half of the coat first, cure it, and then apply another one. Okay, well, looks okay to me. Now I'm going to put the gel away so it will not, the dust, will not be glued to all this stickiness. I thought you should pinch after 15 seconds. Yeah, actually that's right. Well, I got a little distracted with my heat spikes and everything and did it later. Well, like I said, from my nails, I could even completely skip the pinching part because it's really, I mean, it's already had its curve. So it was okay. But yeah, if you're dealing with really wide nails, it is better, to be careful. And also, by the way, heat spike is a guideline for pinching. So once you feel that it's hot, that's the right time for pinching. Even though it's, I'm using 84 watt lamps. Camila, yeah, well, that's okay. I'm not saying that powerful lamps are bad, okay? It's just with some products that are just not designed for such power, You may experience heat spikes more often compared to 36 watt lamps. Okay, so yeah, I'm not saying like it's bad or something. Does the product not ooze out if you pinch too soon? Catherine, yes, it does. So you're not supposed to. Actually, pinching too early is bad because it will change the structure of the product. So I mean, with gels, it should be at least 15 seconds, like not earlier. All right, so let's do some slight shaping. So you see, I have a little excess product right here, so we'll need to file that off and also to file the sidewalls. And I believe that's pretty much it. Where do I get those pads for gel? Pads, what do you mean, clips? You can find like Amazon. Under almost my YouTube videos, I have a link to my Amazon like storefront with my favorite Amazon products, and there's a link to this paper, plastic clips. Same thing on the opposite side. C-curve prevents nails from breaking and making nails not look white. Thanks, Miss Bonnie. Yes, I 100% agree. C-curve is not only about the look. I mean, not everybody likes this curve, and it's totally fine. But it's more about the, you know, the perfect nail. Like people with the natural nails that do not break them a lot usually have a deep C-curve. So now, the only area where we have excess product, like I showed you, is right here. So I need to file it a little bit. And then we can only just use the buffer. Oh, okay, before I start filing, I also wanted to show you something. I think, yeah, you can see it. So you see where the glossy part is and where my nail is? So this is the margin that you leave, and it should go all the way to the sidewall if you do not want any product lifting. You should not go under the cuticle or especially touch, you know, the skin. Would you say that 72 watt lamp is too powerful? Anushka's asking. Well, it depends on for which purpose. I mean, for some products, it may be too powerful. Like for usually colored gels, like nude gels, they require a bit more power, so it's great if you use them for that. And clear gels, they don't really need that much because clear is a see-through, right? The light will penetrate through it even with a low power lamp. That's why usually clear gels, I mean, there shouldn't be any problems with fully curing them. So I'm looking, you guys, now, do you know what you see, guys? Now you can see everything that I see with my own eyes. So what do you think about this webinar, guys, in terms of like technical? Like, I think we improved, like we have the better, like a different equipment now. You can see some angles closer. I think that's pretty cool, right? You can, well, I'm still jumping out of the frame. That's on me. Okay, so then I switch to the buffer, and I'm just going to buff the surface before we seal it with a top coat. Can you have a deep C-curve for short extensions and wider nails? Well, unfortunately, if you have nails that are super flat and like this wide, well, no, there are definitely limits. You cannot create like a 50% C-curve, but still you can make them look more narrow and curved using correct technique. Usually it's not only about pinching, about the structure. Once you add more product here in the center, the nail is not going to look as flat or wide anymore. Okay, so usually after buffing and shaping and filing, I really like to wash my hands, but we're not going to do that now. in terms of time, because we have a couple more well, not really topics, a little bit to talk about. Then we have Q&A session ahead, and we have a giveaway. Okay, so we need to hurry. Oh my God, I just noticed we've been talking for almost 2 hours now. Are you guys tired? Honestly, I didn't notice how the time flies. That's why I did this. I remember these webinars used to be like 1 hour like 20 minutes. Now, I'm sorry, but it seems like I can't stop. I just can't shut up. What is a good LED lamp wattage, Dominique? Well, for most products, 36 watts is all you need. But if you're using color gels, if you're doing the designs, then more power is also nice. So I would say it's good if you have a lamp with a low heat mode, because this is how you can turn down this power. Okay, I think that's enough. Like I always say, at some point you just need to stop, because you kind of already want to improve something, but okay, I definitely need to stop here. And just take all the dust off. By the way, the color is pretty, right? I didn't expect it will look so nice. And we seal it with a top coat. I never get tired of listening and learning. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to use a regular... Where do you get your wipes, please? Guys, check out my stories. In a couple hours, I can post that. So these are Kleenex. Those are actually for wiping floors in your house. I just cut them into small pieces, and these are one of the greatest nail wipes I've ever seen. I mean, but they're not designed for nails, and the price is good. Like the entire roll is, I forgot, something like, no, I don't remember the price, but I mean it's super good, because once you cut it into like 100 pieces, they will serve you for a very long time. Wow. Okay, and here's a little trick with the top coat that we don't really need now, but I will show you. So if for some reason you have some imperfection in the surface, usually it happens when you apply the color, you can put a drop right here, but a small drop, okay, not too much, and then slightly go all the way down, and then with the tip of the brush slightly move it, and that's it. Then you have a perfect surface. Okay, cure. Is it easier to use polygel or hard gel? Ooh, that's a tough question. I think gel, with hard gel, it's easier to create a perfect surface because it's going to help you with that. But with polygel, it's easier to build a structure because it's thicker. I like the brush you clean off the dust as well, so I hope you have it on the Amazon store. Oh, I'm sorry, I do not, because I have no idea. Well, I got this one from NSI. It's called NSI Flush Brush, and I also have seen the similar one at C&D. But if I find it on Amazon, I will definitely add it. I have a 120 watt lamp. Wow, my sister complains about too hot and painful. Yeah, well, that's quite a powerful lamp. Don't stop talking, we're learning so much. Thank you. You can just take off hand from lamp for a while and cure it again. Well, yeah, but you mean with some clients it may be too, just too sensitive. Well, I do not happen to have any cuticle oil, so I'm sorry for my not very beautiful like skin looking at the end, but we have a nail. This is the curve view. This is, I just, wanted to show you something really simple that you do not really need to have any like super skill, just color, glitter, and clear, and that's it. So you see, the main thing I believe in, nail sculpting is the application. Once you learn how to do it, buffing and shaping is, just goes super fast. What the glitter brand? Oh my God, guys, I have no idea. No name glitter. I bought it we have like a local Chinese market. I bought it from here. I also have a similar shaped glitter from one of Model 1's kits. I'm sorry, yeah, these questions are always really tough because I have no idea where does this glitter come from, you know, they just glitters. Now, let me know if you would like to learn how to do beautiful nails with acrylic and gel. I'm going to talk a little bit about the new class now and also reply to your questions. How many LED bulbs dots should a UV lamp at least have? I would say the power, at least 36 watts, and I cannot say how many bulbs because, I mean, it really depends on some technical issues. I have no idea, but at least 36 watts. Did you place the top coat on the margin that you left to Iran? Great question. Well, not really. I still have a margin. Let me show you. I still have this margin right here. But I used a regular gel top coat, this one, Valentino. But if you're using Sock-Off gel top coat, you know, the one that works for gel polishes, the flexible ones, you can. You can go all the way to the close because it's a soft and it's going to adhere even to the bare natural nail. And that's a trick I used a lot when I've been covering my acrylic nails. So I would like to introduce to you the new updated level 1 nail sculpting class. I've been talking about it a little bit during the presentation. This is just a small part of what this class includes because it has over 100 lessons like product chemistry, natural nail anatomy, nail sculpting, tips and overlay, fitting the form for different nail types, consistency practice, how to sculpt nails, like if it's acrylic with 3 beads, if it's gel, you know, within 1 drop. Nail sculpting troubleshooting, not enough filing versus too much filing, how to find the perfect balance in it, filing and shaping, color application, and so much more. Also, I think that pictures and results speak better than words. So I just would like to show you some students' works. You know, some graduation students' works that they actually submit as their assignments because, I mean, I can talk about nails forever, but it's just better to see. So these are some of the nails that our students did. And yes, this one is also from level 1, different views, because we always require to take pictures from different angles, from top view, from side view, from seeker view. And we have one more here and another one. So some students started from scratch. Some of them had some previous experience. These are some testimonials. Well, we're not going to read them because we have too many, but you can always find them on the website. And if you're logged in, if you click on the name of this person, you can also get to their profile, which is kind of like a social media profile. Like here's, for example, the one by Linda. I don't know if Linda, you're here now. She just has so many diplomas, so I decided to show her profile as an example. So it just shows the classes you're currently taking. Well, here we can see every class is finished, but if it's in progress, it will say in progress. And all the certificates will also show up on the wall, and you can always get access to them. So will level 1 online class work for me? And I want to be honest with you guys, it will not work for everyone. So if you are satisfied with your current level of your expertise, then, well, no, I believe you will not really be open to learn something new. If you're fully booked for next month, then also no, because you will need some time to take this class. And if you're fully booked, you're always working with your clients like every day, probably not going to work. If you spend 15 minutes or less on filing and shaping the nails, like I just did, you know, just light shaping and buffing, then also you might probably not really benefit from this class a lot. And this class is for you if you watched over 100 videos on YouTube but still don't like the result that you have. Because, you know, on YouTube, we see so many beautiful works. We see so many talented nail artists. but we see, some parts of their works and the result. You do not really see a super detailed explanation of each step, and most importantly, you're not practicing by yourself. If you're struggling with fitting the forms, if you want to learn how to do cuticle clean work and flawless application, if you have problems when working with certain nail types, such as crooked nails, and if you're just getting started, this class then is just perfect for you. And if you're a licensed nail tech but willing to learn the latest nail salon techniques. So how does online education at Neospray Academy work? Well, classes and lessons, they're pre-recorded. They're not like live streams. They are pre-recorded in advance. That's why they have a very high quality, and you will be able to see every single detail. And you can watch them at your comfortable time, at the comfort of your home, during your commute, just anywhere from any device, from your laptop, from your iPad, from your computer, from your phone, whatever works for you better. And then this is the most important part. You will get feedback, because I am constantly learning all the time, like even now. And even though I consider myself a very disciplined person, like I can make myself, wake up at 5 a.m., go to the workout, like I do it easily. And even then, once I compared my results when I was learning something by myself versus I was learning with a coach, they were so different. It's still better when you have someone with experience who will guide you. This is the most valuable part of our classes. Then you're going to pass the exam and do the beautiful graduation work. This is, by the way, one of the graduation works of our students as well. And then you will get a certificate. So we have a certificate for gel and for acrylic, and they're separate. So on this level 1 nail sculpting, you can choose acrylic or gel, 100 plus lessons. You will also get 50 CEU credits, which is continuing education units. If you're in the US and you live in the state that requires license renewal annually, I believe there are 28 states that require that, then it will be available for you. You will get teacher-graded assignments and certificate of completion. And new updates that we just did in 2021 is how to remove product on yourself, how to do your own nails, more acrylic and gel application lessons, and form-fitting lessons with more angles. You guys can probably tell, that I'm so excited because, I really believe in the products that we're doing, like our classes. It's not just, a bunch of videos we recorded and then we're selling an access to them. No, it's actually a work, like everyday work of the entire team. Like we're updating the class all the time because, we see feedback, we see problems the students are struggling with, and we understand what we need to change, what we need to improve. Then we see I already created 100 plus lessons, and then oh my God, I didn't explain this trick with a brush, or, this trick with a brush cleaning with a primer, like I told you today. I'm like, oh my God. Then I have another one and another one. I didn't include it, and then I add more and more, and that's why this class is so big now. So, this is just accumulated experience, not just me, but of the entire team. Then we have Kisa, who many years ago, she took all of our classes, and now she's teaching. She has her own class. She's working with the clients just like me, so we're up to date with the techniques. We just know what's going on there, and that's why I believe we can provide the best classes for you. All right, we have questions. Thank you for amazing webinars. Thank you, Camila, so much. Anxie is asking, after how many refills do you suggest to remove the gel because the oldest J may lift? Normally, if this client is doing fills on time, if it's not like every time the nails are lifting, if everything's okay, if it's been just 3 weeks, no lifting, you're just doing a quick, easy fills. I used to have a client that we had nails for 3 years without renewing them, without just doing fills and fills, and it was all good. So I believe you don't really have to do that. The only thing I would suggest, if it's changing its color, and if usually we did that when a person wants to change the design. Like they decided to do glass nails, and for this one it's better to have a fresh clear gel, right? But if she's just doing regular nails that you're covering with a color on top, then you don't really need to do that if there are no problems other than that. What is the best way to seal the cuticle after acrylic application? What do you mean seal? Oh, the cuticle area. So after acrylic application, you need to file it and buff it. And like I mentioned this trick earlier, you can use a soak-off top coat, you know, the top coat for soak-off gel systems. And you can apply it even closer to the nail plate as long as you prep it really well. And then you can seal the acrylic with it, and you can be 100% sure that nothing's going to lift. If you're using hard gel top coat, it's going to give a slightly better shine. It's like super shiny glass, you know, high shine. But in that case, you need to apply it right on top of the acrylic, not further. Anastasia, can you please recommend suppliers that ships to South Africa? We struggle with good products. Desiree, I definitely know that there's an NSI distributor there, a good one in South Africa, so I can recommend NSI, definitely. Are the diplomas recognized in the UK? Our diplomas are recognized in most English-speaking countries. I know that we have some students from the UK who use them, for example, in some suppliers to buy products because they only sell them if you have a diploma. But I mean, what exactly do you mean? Maybe, you know, some salon requires some special kind of diplomas that I'm not sure, like I cannot give you 100% guarantee. Are there tricks to cut off service time in the class in this course? I believe that first you need to learn how to do nails good, and then you can speed up, okay? So in this class, this is the basic class, we focus on product application, on form fitting. So when you're doing something for the first time, it's not possible to do it fast right away, right? When you're doing something the first time, you do it slow. That's just how it works. So in terms of like actual like speed tricks, not really, because this is a beginner class, but I will definitely show you how to work with less beads if it's acrylic, how to work with less steps when it's gel, and in that term, it will help you to work faster. I'm also showing my filing technique, you know, like a 4-step filing technique that will lead you to the perfect shape, whatever you follow it. So yes, it will help you to work a little faster if you already have some experience. But if you're just getting started, like only doing your first steps, I will strongly recommend you to focus on the quality first. When we do gel extensions, do we need to use a special base coat for gel, or can we use base coat for gel polish? Relica. You can use any. However, I recommend using gel polish base coat for thin nails, for hyperhidrosis nails, for any nails that have some kind of problems, because it will give a slightly better adhesion because it's flexible. You see, the nail is flexible, well, right? And the soak-off base coat is flexible, so when they're together, they will create a better adhesion, while the hard gel base is not as flexible. Makes sense? So for healthy, standard nails, you can use anything you want. For nails that have some weaknesses, I would say it's better to use a soak-off base coat. I love your outfit, thank you. Yeah, I think it reminds me of some kind of 80s, right, or something, because of its color. And when I was doing this hairstyle, the girl, the stylist, she told me like now I look like some kind of Disney princess with this with the hair, because they like this kind of hairstyle. For these webinars, there's subtitle if I get it. I believe on the YouTube that you can type, there's some certain automatic subtitles. Please, any idea about how much charge for the services? Dave is asking. Wow, well, this is a really tough question. It really depends on where you're working, in the city, in which country, even with each street. Like in the city where I work, we have full sets starting from $10 US all the way up to $200. So it really depends where you're working. But if you're a beginner, I strongly, guys, I'm begging you, please do not charge like super low. Research what's the average price on your market and stick to this one or a little bit higher, okay, but not lower. Okay, more questions. Are the CEUs recognized in the US? Dominic is asking. Yes, absolutely. These are what CEUs are for. They're actually, I believe, not recognized anywhere else. So yeah, they are recognized in the US. Thank you, Anastasia. Only webinars are very useful. Thank you so much, Relica. Jill, I'm new in tech and still perfecting my craft. You gave me so much info, so much through YouTube. Oh my God. No. Oh, and love your content. Thank you, Gali. It's just the comments are flying so fast. My builder gel is soak-off. Does this mean it is a soft gel or hard gel? Soak-off gels are soft gels. I never see my comments here. I don't know why. Gabby, I can see your comment. It's just, you know, I'm sorry that I'm like, today I've seen the top, I believe I've seen like 670 something people at the same time. Like, thank you guys so much. Like, I'm super excited that just imagining that amount of people at the same time in one room is just crazy. So that's why some of the comments might be, you know, were just flying so fast. I was just unable to see them all. So I'm sorry for that. But as you can see, I'm doing my best, like trying to reply to all of them. Okay, let's take a few more last questions and we need to wrap it up. I see your videos every night before I go to bed and you have such a delicate voice. Thank you. So non-acid primer before gel. Yes, Melissa, correct. But before acrylic, it's going to work too. Can we use primer for gel polish? Anita, yes, you can, but I recommend to use it only on the free edge because gel polish adheres pretty well anyways. Usually it's the free edge where we need some extra adhesion. Where can I find the webinar for making nails on my own hand? Thank you. Katerina, well, doing nails on your own is a part of this class. This lesson is included. And if you're talking about the webinar, you mean the video? I have a few videos on my channel as well. Soak-off color gel over hard gel. Does the soak-off cause lifting on the hard gel? No, no. If there's a lifting, there was some other mistake because once you do extensions, hard gel or acrylic, whatever you put on top, designs, rhinestones, soft gel, no, it's not going to change it. So you need to look through the slides of the possible reasons I gave you and analyze what happened there. What products can I use to clean the dust from nails? Brush and cleanse or alcohol. Great webinar. Thank you for taking time to give this free webinar. Sure, you're welcome. One last question. Why are this amazing? I want some answers. Thank you, guys. Well, that's simple. That's because you are amazing, guys, and you really inspire me with all these comments, even especially when the sound cut off in this webinar. I mean, I wasn't panicking at all. I was just sitting there and laughing because, you know, you were like panicking first, like, oh my God, there's no sound. The sound cut off. And some people started saying like, stop saying that, she already knows that. And some other people were like, no, we need to keep going so she sees that. And I don't know, I was just, you know, no panic at all. So thank you for that. And also, I'm a big fan of learning. You know, I try to learn new things almost every day because, I don't know, it just inspires me. You know, it gives me energy and motivation. I love learning and I love sharing my knowledge as well. So this is like the motto of me and of Nails Pro Academy, like never stop learning. Let's keep in touch. If you don't want to say goodbye right now, remember that we also have our Instagram and Facebook, and Nails Pro Academy has its own YouTube channel that you may want to follow, Snapchat and TikTok. And I do have all those things as well. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Snapchat.